right, there we are. You in the car? Where are you going?
Yeah, man. Yeah, sorry, I've been running around running errands this morning, so
All right.
I hop
All
on.
right. No,
Yeah.
no, not going to Dolphins camp to sneak in there to see what's going on.
They had a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday week, so I don't think I would have seen much. We already saw so many of the starters missing Tuesday's OTA. I think I would have seen many fewer players on random Friday during OTAs when they don't have a practice.
No, but I mean, you can sneak in there and try to, just try to get information without getting busted or arrested.
Uh,
I, I, I think that would be a challenge. And what you got to do is film it live. And that way
oh
you
yeah.
shoot while you're breaking in and sneaking around and going into Mike McDaniel's office and searching and looking at the playbook and all that kind of stuff. So, I think that would be a hell of a story for you, a hell of a video for you. I mean, it would go viral. I'm telling you, it would go viral.
Yeah, so then it would go viral, and then the Dolphins would get wind of it and revoke my credentials. So
Well, I mean, that's just a small issue, that goes on with it. But you'll be all right. I mean, you'll be
oh,
fine.
if Big O told me, then sure, I'll
Exactly.
do it.
That's it. That's it. That's what will get you through in that building. Big O told me. Yeah, that'll help out. That'll help out in every building here in South Florida. Yeah, Big O said so. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, now you'll get the electric chair after that. Anyway, by the way, I saw you wrote about Ezukanma.
Yeah,
Yeah, I saw that it showed up in the Herald and the Palm Beach Post too at the same time, which I'm happy because that's the kind of stuff that I think was really important football wise out of some of the stuff because a lot of the other stuff was more clickbait stuff. Oh, Tua's is he holding out? Is he mad or whatever? Which is all silliness. If you know that guy, that's not going to happen, bro. That's just not what it's all about. It's just kind of crazy. So it's good to see some actual football stuff being written.
yeah, and it was an OTA where you're missing a lot of the top guys, and then Ezukanma is one of the guys that you get, and he stood out in that first OTA. But he's a guy who could vie for that number 4 receiver spot. There's going to be some competition there behind Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Odell Beckham Jr. And he has some unique qualities to himself. He's the
Right.
tallest receiver among the group competing for it, and in the run game, he can contribute in that way. That, like we saw those 2 games that he did play last year, that was definitely a thing that Mike McDaniel was trying to get going with him because he runs with once he has the ball in his hands, he has a running back's mentality, and he's going all out to get as many yards as he can, even after contact. You saw even in those limited snaps or carries, there were some examples of that just in those alone. So if they can unlock some of those things, that would be great. And it's great to see that he really has that neck issue behind him. He said he's 100%.
Yeah, that to me was when I read that he felt 100%. To me, that's where it you start to feel good, and now you see why they didn't go after pretty much anybody of that ilk. They didn't draft a kid. They didn't bring in an undrafted kid. I mean, they focused on the slot. That's what they focused on in the draft and in post draft when they brought in the street free agents. It's all about the slot. They didn't worry about then again. How many guys are like Ezukanma? You don't have a lot of those guys that you can use them as a receiver and a runner too at the same time. That's kind of an odd pairing normally to find a guy like that.
Yeah. So definitely unique qualities to him. So, and definitely a guy you could tell exactly like you said that Mike McDaniel envisioned something that he could do there with him, and that's why they didn't, or maybe why. I mean, it's telling that they didn't go for another guy with those same qualities, and that they really went all in on getting those slot guys, drafting 2 of them in the late rounds. So those guys will compete. The 2 Washington boys, and Braxton Berrios bringing him back. So, and who also has his own skill set in the return game, and he'll be valued in that regard too. So he kind of has his spot there because of that as well. But yeah, I mean, something different for the receiving core with Ezukanma.
I'm with you there. Well, by the way, how did the backup quarterbacks look? Over again, it's not pads or not. There's not 11 on 11s. There's no pressure or anything, so it's not a big deal. But how did the quarterbacks look?
Yeah, I think just for this one OTA, Skylar Thompson maybe had a little bit better of a day. Mike White did get intercepted. The one pass over the middle, where I guess Anthony Walker was a little deeper than he expected, or he didn't feel like he could get up as high as he did. So he tried to throw a ball over him to the next level, and then Walker got up, tipped it up, and it came right back down to him for an interception. And Gavin Hardison, low key impressive in that OTA. Now he'll usually be going up against defenders that are lower level on the depth chart, and trying to vie for a roster spot, maybe long shots to make the roster come training camp. But in those snaps, he did well working that third team. So good to see him. Good arm on him.
Yeah, no, that'll be interesting because obviously you always want to work on projects. And to me, if you're not working on a third guy, and I know they have their three, so in this case it's a fourth guy, but if you're not working on the periphery and the third or fourth guy in this case, that they're like projects, so you could try to see if you find a diamond in the rough, then I think you're doing your team a disservice. And I think you should be trying to reach for quarterbacks every year, because if you're able to find one, then you can use it as a trade chip, or God forbid your starter gets injured. Now you have somebody that you really like that you're developing that might be able to bail you out of a situation, instead of what you normally have as a backup is somebody that you hope doesn't sink you and does enough to keep you afloat. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what a backup is. A backup is a person you're hoping just doesn't screw it up and can kind of keep things, somewhat steady, and then everybody else kind of raises their game.
Yeah, which is interesting because Mike White, in his backup opportunities that he's had with the Jets, has been the opposite of that. Either very high highs or some very low lows, where we like a 3 touchdown, 0 interception game, or then some games where he couldn't get their offense moving at all. That was also with the Jets, of course. So let's make sure we make that
just a guy. That's why he's just. That's why he's just a guy. He's really Mike White is nothing special, dude. You know what I mean? It's just I get it that the whole local thing and all that, but really, Mike White is whatever, bro. Look, like I said for many years, until Tua and maybe a little Pennington. Listen to me. Don Shula's backups were better than all the quarterbacks that after Marino.
Don Shula's backups were better than all the. Wow.
Yeah. Earl Morrall and Don Strock.
He kept the undefeated season going. Yeah.
Guys over everyone except Tua and Pennington. Everyone except Tua and Pennington.
So you're including Ryan Tannehill in that conversation.
Fuck yeah, bro. Ryan Tannehill ain't shit, dude. He's never been He's never been jack shit, dude. Every time when the heat turns up, he goes scatterbrain. When things get flustered in the pocket, he goes scatterbrain, dude. That guy's never been the guy. I've never had any respect for Ryan Tannehill.
Oh, ever. But Big O, some people will tell you that he led the Tennessee Titans to the AFC Championship.
And I laugh at every one of those idiots that say that. Okay? And I'll tell them right to their face. Like, you don't know shit about quarterbacking if you think he was the answer. When they were winning, they were games with him 70 and 100 yards. And the guy that just left to Baltimore, that's the guy that was carrying the real offense. I mean, come on, bro. It's just, if anybody thinks that Ryan turned the corner in Tennessee, it shows that you really don't understand quarterbacking. Really.
I remember people.
But it shows you how good Shula was.
Mm-hmm.
That his backups, okay? His backups were better than most of our starters post Marino. That's screwed up, bro. Okay? That is just absolutely screwed up. All right. So, that's,
Yeah,
we got to get better.
and
Man.
with Tannehill,
Finally,
I remember it
finally,
was
we have
just like a matter of.
what's that? Say it again.
Okay, no, sorry, it was going really weird. Yeah, all right, I'm back, right? I'm back. You hear me? Um, Well, yeah, with Tannehill, I just remember how much it was just it was Derrick Henry carrying them, and then it was just he would have like an 8 of 12 game
Yeah.
for I don't know 160 yards because he threw a couple of deep passes to AJ Brown, coming off a play action when the opponents had 8 in the box trying to stop Derrick Henry. So, and
He's a
everyone was just going insane that Tannehill was taking the Titans to the AFC
yeah.
Championship game.
Yeah, he's a jag, and that was never really going to be, much of a thing. What do you know about anything going on with Tua's contract negotiations? Do you know anything? Because I know that stuff is almost impossible to find.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that stuff is going to be kept under wraps. I mean, I think sort of just what we know is that, yeah, Tua's going to be looking for something over $50 million. That's the market value, and probably not just slightly over. Like the next couple of million after that, after watching Jared Goff get his 53 average annual value. So that's just what it is today. The salary cap went up a lot this year, more than a lot of teams expected. So. That doesn't just mean, okay, now teams have some more space. That also means players at premium positions, especially quarterbacks, they're going to expect to have a new market value, and certainly Tua will look into it that way, and his representation. So, as far as his offseason workouts, I mean, I don't think he's trying to make a big point of missing the time that he did miss in the first 2 phases. I think he's doing a lot that's on his own away from the team. The work in California with John Beck, his personal training, which has been tremendous all season. If you look at the images of him, when you do see him, then he's gotten more shredded, more ripped, more lean, slim. So I think that'll help him with some agility in the pocket, moving around, mobility, getting to move outside the pocket. Maybe he unlocks a lot of those things in his game. So I think he has been working on a lot of stuff on his own that will benefit him. And then we do know he was there for the OTA that we were there for. The media was there for. In
He
advance,
froze.
and then now Thursday he was back there. So, oh, do you have me back? What was the last
Yeah,
thing you
you've
heard me
been.
say?
Yeah, no, you've been going in and out a little bit there on the end of the Tua stuff that he was there for the media session and then working on the individual stuff and all that other stuff. So we got most of it, but there were moments where you froze and then it started again, but it was kind of rejoining what you were saying. So it wasn't like skipping. So it wasn't that much off. Um I don't know because I see sometimes people in the media write and again, I don't. I get the clickbait stuff, but there's no hurry on Holland. There's no hurry on Waddle. None of
Right,
that is going to happen for a while. I don't know what's talked about in the media room, but it's funny because I see the articles over the last couple of weeks that when Devontae Smith signed, well, what does that mean for Waddle? Well, none of this shit means anything. They're not in a hurry to sign those guys. They won't be signing those guys till sometime next year, maybe during the regular season next year or at the end of the year. Until Tua's deal's done, there's nothing going to go on, with anybody else. And even Jalen Phillips either. That won't even go on for a long time because they got to see what happens with him this entire season.
right, right. So yeah, I mean, Javon Holland, he knows where he stands in the pecking order. So when he was asked about his contract situation going into the final year of his rookie deal, then he said, he scoffed at it like, if Tua ain't getting his done right now, I'm definitely not getting mine done right now. So he understands that. With Jalen Waddle, he already has that 5th-year option now exercised by the team, just like Jalen Phillips as well. So that kind of pushes that along. Like the Dolphins don't just have this season with him, but also next year already locked in. So I think, I mean, probably you go into even next offseason with that, but the price will go up. So there is a risk to that. But you definitely take care. You prioritize first the quarterback. Tua will get his first, and then that's when the organization will look at whether it's Jalen Waddle, whether it's Javon Holland. Jalen Phillips would be even after that, because you have to see how he comes back from this Achilles, and maybe even Javon Holland if Anthony Weaver really views him as a priority player that he needs on the back end of this defense, then maybe even he goes first before Jalen Waddle, because he really is going into the last year of his deal. He can't have that 5th-year option exercise the way the two Jalen's there do as first-round picks. He was a second-round pick back in 2021. So this is his 4th and final year on his rookie deal. So it's kind of like coming down to the wire now. This is the now or never before he becomes a free agent next year. Which, by the way, I think Anthony Weaver will work well with Javon Holland. He mentioned a little bit more of some more single high safety looks than you were getting under Vic Fangio, obviously because Fangio wasn't doing that barely ever, even though it's a lot still of the split safeties. But that could take advantage of Javon Holland's range, that range that we know he does have from back Brian Flores working with him, and Josh Boyer's defense that had a lot more of those single high safety looks, and bringing that other safety in the box. So maybe his range is utilized a little bit more in this scheme, while still having some balance of what was done last year.
Follow him on Twitter at David Furones _. What do you got going on over at the Sentinel, my man?
Yeah, as you saw, I was just writing about Erik Ezukanma on Thursday. I really like that piece, and then I think I'm going to get around to writing about Byron Matos, the undrafted free agent. I was kind of holding that story, for a day where I could use it. So maybe over the weekend, bring that out, and then we get into next week's OTAs, where hopefully we get to see some more of the starters around.
All right, good stuff. Have a fantastic weekend, my friend. As always, we appreciate it.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you, sir. There you go, the great David Furones. And call my friends at Welt Rheaume, 954-966-4646. Welt and Rheaume.